Well, welcome to Old Classic Car, and today we are back at the Avro Heritage Museum for their regular classic car meet. Today is Father's Day, so we're expecting many gentlemen here with their offspring. We shall see how many turn up as the day progresses. Dad's here in his MGB GT. We're here in the trusty Mk1 MX5, parked alongside its much younger cousin. It's only about 10 o'clock at the moment, so it's still fairly early, but yeah, we're hoping for some really interesting cars here today. If you've not seen the video yet, I did a video a little while ago of the previous meeting here at Avro Heritage, and there were some really cracking cars turned up, so we're hoping for more of the same today. Oh, look at this little Ford pickup truck. Wow, that is fantastic. What's that in the back, an old motorcycle? I think we'll have to have a closer look at that a bit later today. Series 1 E-Type 4.2, 2+2. There's a little Formosa home-built car based on Triumph mechanicals. I think the running gear, or the chassis of that car, began life as a Triumph Herald Coupe. Wouldn't believe it, would you? Look at this Rover P6 estate. This is a rare old girl. These conversions were undertaken by FLM Panelcraft. I think this was called the Astoura. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. E-S-T-O-U-R-A, if I remember correctly. And they made a number of these back in the 1960s. But what a fantastic car that is! You can really see the original Rover, the sort of fairly droopy roofline, and it's just continued right to the back. But what a rare car that is! And here we've got an album of some old photographs of this car as it was purchased you've done a few cars, haven't you?
Yeah.
So is that a 460, is that 468?
472.
472, the later one. Right. Oh, well, these have kept you busy, haven't they? So we've got a bit of that's the finished. Yeah. That's the finished car, was it? Wow. Yeah. Well, that's not. I do like those. So let's see if we can find the right. There's the beginning of the Rover.
Yeah.
So that was as you bought it then?
Yeah.
Wow. And it had been parked up 17 years when you found it?
Yeah.
Wow. Was it in a bad way, rust-wise, or?
Well, you can see that, can't you?
Because they rust behind the outer panels, don't they? Because I suppose when you unbolt all the panels, then you really see what you've bought, I suppose, don't you?
Yeah.
Does it get a lot of use now then? Do you still use it quite regularly, or?
I haven't got a modern car. I've got this, and I've got a B6 saloon as well.
Oh, have you? Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's off the road at the moment, the other one. Dropped it. It's either dropped a piston or a valve, I don't know what. I'm waiting for a polymer to come.
Oh, right. There we go. All finished and looking good. Wow. So this is your main car then?
Yeah, it's what I'm using all the time at the minute.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's great, that is. It's always nice to see the photos of these things work in progress, isn't it? You know, because you see the shiny end result, you know.
Yeah.
The gentleman that owns this is now 90, and this is his regular driver at the moment. What a rare little Bobby Dazzler that is. So we're back to the photo album again, and we've got some lovely early photos. So what was this then? So that's you in a MGTA? So was that back in the 50s, 60s sort of thing?
1950, I was involved in 56.
Oh right,
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's my wife, she died 2 years ago.
Oh dear, right. Wow.
Yeah.
I like all the photographs. Oh, Triumph.
They're a good car.
Yeah, I like those. What's this here? This Ford
Galaxy.
the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Great. And you say you've got your Austin 7 in here as well?
Yeah. Somewhere. That belongs to a friend of mine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's on Touchy Frost.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Is that yours, is it?
Yeah. I had that at that time.
Oh,
yeah.
brilliant.
That's when I were in the RAF.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Medic.
Oh, here we go, Austin 7. So that was your first car?
Yeah.
PJ2148?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was my first Rover.
Oh yeah, yeah, got you. And this is the MG again, is it?
Yeah, that's at Welsh Cathedral.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lovely TA. Wow. A bit more recent times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sir Riley I did. I bought that for me. I only did one show with it and I got a right good offer. I had to sell it.
Dear.
You know.
Oh dear. So what happened to the Austin 7?
I sold it when I got demobbed. I got 17.5 quid for it.
When you were demobbed?
Yeah, I thought I'd swum the channel.
Yeah, yeah. Well. A couple more arrivals here at Avro Heritage Museum. Got a Swiss DB5. The Vitesse convertible. I think I'm in the way. Next to this X-Type we have this lovely Sunbeam Talbot 90 that we saw driving in before. Always thought these were great looking cars. Quite underrated as well, I think. Got a bit of information on the screen, which is always good to see. 1952. Good year. There we go. 4-speed column change. First registered 18th of June 1951.
It's got a nice little additional takeout.
Was it?
Just on the bottom
Oh,
there.
it's nice seats in there, aren't they?
Yeah, I know, it's mellow.
Oh yeah, it's got an extra
Yeah, extra
little tachometer there under the dash. And is that the original? Look at that. Copy of the original purchase receipt, 1957. Oh, it's used, so it was a second-hand sale. One used Sunbeam Talbot car, GRP 256, as seen, tried and approved for the agreed figure of £525. And that was April 1957. Oh, very stylish car. I know some of these had like the wheel spats on as well to cover the rear wheels. I'm not sure if that was every car or I can't see the holes because usually they have a hole somewhere around here on the arch that the rear wheel spats clipped into. So maybe this is a slightly later car. I'm not quite sure because they did evolve every year or two. We had this Sunbeam Talbot 80 and later the 90, and every year or so they just changed ever so slightly, just to sort of keep the design fresh, but they were made for quite a few years. It's on a reissued registration number now, so it's lost its original number at some point over the years. And look at this mighty Citroen CX alongside. What a wild looking car that is. Sun's breaking out now as well, so hopefully we're in for a good day. Yeah, that's a cool car, I like that. And by complete contrast, next to that, we've got a Mk1 Ford Consul. Apart from the colour, this is identical to a car that an old boy who used to live next to us when I was a kid, he had one of these. He used to brush paint it white every year or two. And he used to bomb up and down the road regardless of whether we were in the road at the same time. But what a beautiful car that is. Now the owner of this magnificent CX that we were talking about only a few seconds ago has wandered over and he's volunteered to tell us all about his fantastic French dream. So sir, what's the story with this CX?
Well, the most interesting thing is that the number plate is actually for 1982.
I thought it was quite a late number.
But the car is actually a 1980. I'm only the second owner. The
Right.
first owner worked for the British government in Germany.
Ooh.
He ordered it over there, had it delivered, but in full UK spec.
Yeah, right-hand
And of
drive,
course,
isn't
he
it?
came back to the country in 1982.
Right,
and
got
that
you.
was when it received.
So they just put the
that
current
number plate.
registration on, didn't
Yeah,
they?
I mean,
Yes.
nowadays you probably get a sympathetic reg, wouldn't
Yes,
you?
you could get an age.
You know, but that is what it was first
Part of its
registered
history, isn't
over
it? Yeah,
here
it's
with.
part of its history, isn't it?
But other than that, like I say, I'm only the second owner.
And why did you go for one of these?
Because
Were
of the
did you-
finest car that's ever been made. It's as simple as that,
So
really.
have you got a history of these then, or was this the first one?
It was the second one. Years ago, I had a Prestige, which is the one which is 10 inches longer, all in the rear, the limousine, the straight.
right,
And that was one that I always regretted selling it. And so I bought this, it's coming up for 6 years ago now.
Right.
And it's never been restored. It's just...
So what are they like to run? Are they a nightmare with all the suspension and all the doodads and things,
people
and
go,
spheres and
you know,
things?
you say the hydraulics, everyone goes,
Is it LHM, the fluid? Is it LHM? Is it LHM? Yeah.
No, I mean, the way I put it is this: if you put your car in for an MOT, and the bloke comes back and says, "Yeah, everything's fine except your rear brakes, the pipes are corroded," there, you say, "All right, go ahead and do it, don't you?"
Well, I guess, however complicated these are, it's still way simpler than anything
Well, I
modern now,
can
isn't
show.
it?
I can show.
Yeah,
you
go on then.
something,
Oh, let's go and have a look. Single wiper as well, centrally mounted. These are a pretty wild car.
I'm in the middle of replacing the spheres, which you've probably heard of.
I have heard of spheres.
I've just replaced the front ones, and I'm waiting.
Oh, right there.
Now that is a sphere,
Right, so that's what keeps you upright then.
and it's just like replacing a light bulb, basically.
Right.
Except it's so easy on the front. With no exaggeration, I replaced both fronts in 5 minutes.
Right. So this runs on the LHM fluid then?
Well,
Ish.
people think that the fluid is the suspension medium, but it isn't.
Right.
You see that joint there?
Yeah.
There's a rubber membrane inside.
Got you.
Above that is nitrogen gas.
Right.
In your front spheres, that runs at 75 bar.
Right.
Rear's a 40 bar.
Got you.
That is your suspension medium, because apparently Citroen worked, or it's a fact, that a gas under compression is the finest spring that you can get.
Right.
There's nothing better.
Got you.
In essence, the hydraulic fluid is what you might call the levers which control everything between
Right.
it, you know,
okay.
with
Right.
compression and so on.
I see.
But the actual LHM system itself, I think, runs at somewhere around about 2,500 psi
Does it?
on these. That's why when you touch the brakes, it stops.
Yeah.
I mean,
right, got you.
it's
Got you. Yeah. So did Rolls-Royce sort of take on
They-
this?
they
The sort of
use that, yeah.
license the use of it or something, wasn't
I've
it?
just bought these.
They're still easily accessible, available, are they?
Yeah,
Or-
I think I paid £45 each for those.
So are these made new or are these
This is
refurbished?
well, it's quite possible that it's been refurbished. I
Right.
do not know.
Yeah.
They can be done. But as I say, they were sold to me as new.
Yeah.
£45, and for that, you're
It's all right, isn't it? I mean, you'd pay that for just a damper, wouldn't you, on a normal
I
car?
was going to
you
say
know?
that replaces your spring
Yeah,
and your
right.
shock absorber all in
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So I guess it's like anything. Once you sort of gen up on it, just get your head round it. It's not too much of a headache.
Garages must have traded for years on the fear
Yeah,
generated
yeah.
by it, but when you actually come to grips with them, you know, it's. I mean, no one likes to replace corroded pipes on a car, no matter what it is, brakes or whatever.
No.
yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff, isn't it? I love the way the rear screen is sort of concave, isn't it?
Well,
Is that to keep it clean?
If you looked at the C6, the
Yeah.
C6 is really an evocation of this, I think.
So is that to keep it clean, do you think, or something
Well,
like
yeah,
that?
the aerodynamics of it is that when it's raining,
Yeah.
it all sweeps through to the centre.
Got you.
You don't need a wiper.
Right. Yeah, Citroen's preferred total.
Well, I don't, I'm afraid. I
So
no,
you won't get very far if you're
No,
relying on Total, would you?
no, there's not many stations
No.
about. But, yeah.
It's great, isn't it? It looks very clean inside.
It's actually got the original seating is in a parlous condition.
Is it?
Because it's just disintegrated. Because it's
Right, the
43
foam.
old.
Yeah.
So the original owner had these made as loose covers.
Oh, right,
By,
yeah.
I think it was a 2CV specialist down in Kent, which is where he lived at the time.
Right.
I think, and these were made, and I think in 1993, I think he had them made, and even then they were 300 quid.
Yeah.
So wasn't cheap, was it?
Blimey. So did you bring a different car here last time for the museum, or were you just here?
No, I just.
But you saw the video, did you?
Well, I've watched many of your videos actually. It's
wise man. Wise man.
Well, I mean, I've always been interested in old cars, whether they're classics.
Yeah,
First car I ever had was a 1937 Armstrong Siddeley, 14
Was it?
horsepower.
Oh, wow.
And then, but the two cars I've only ever regretted selling. One was the Prestige that I told you about.
Yeah.
And the other one was a 1953 1.5 litre Riley.
Don't talk to Dad, he's over there. He used to have Riley RMs. And he had a 2.5 Roadster at one time.
Oh, what a car.
Yeah, he's always kicking himself about that.
I still, and even now, I still think to myself, should I get an RM, you know?
It's just getting a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's lovely.
For a long time, that's been my only car. It was literally my daily driver.
Right.
It was about 2 months ago. I bought a little Audi A2.
Oh yeah, they're good, aren't they? Yeah, they're good, aren't they? Yeah, they're good. So is this similar in any way to the DS underneath then? Is this just like a...
well, of course, they both use this
talking
system.
of Citroens,
Yes.
talking of Citroen,
Yes,
good
the
Lord.
2CV.
I should have bought my 4CV for a bit of balance, shouldn't I?
Might have had a war then. You know?
Hey, let me tyres down.
Yeah. But, well, yes, it's probably... one way I put it is you've heard of the SM, obviously.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well, the system of steering on this is directly lifted from the SM, what they call the Diravi system.
Oh right.
Have you ever never seen that in operation?
I don't think so. No.
Won't be taking up most of you.
No. What a wild dashboard as well. It's just bonkers, isn't it?
Well, I like the Series 1s
Yep.
with this.
There you go. Oh, the rotating gauges.
Yeah. There's your rev counter.
Oh,
Do you see it? Feel it coming up?
She's going up.
Yeah. Now then. There's 2.5 turns lock to lock.
Is that all? That's a lot of self-centering, isn't it?
Fully powered steering with self-centering.
Wow.
The reasoning for that is that it's got what's called centre contact steering.
Right.
The kingpins, if you want to call it that, of the steering, literally go right through the wheel to the contact patch of the tyre.
Oh right.
So you don't have any caster angle or anything like that.
Right.
So they had to build that in to self-centre. But the big advantage of it is, if you hit a pothole or a brick or something like that at high speed, the wheel's not wrenched out of your hands at all.
Right.
You hardly feel it.
Right.
In that Prestige, I once had a front wheel blowout at about 70 miles an hour.
Did you?
I didn't even know I'd had it. It was only when I started feeling a little bit unusual.
But didn't they say that's what saved de Gaulle in the DS?
That's
didn't have the
it, yeah,
tyre
they
shot
shot the
out or something,
tyres
didn't
out,
they?
yeah.
That's right, yeah.
But the suspension system and everything.
I like this as well, I like that. It's sort of a bit of an air deflector, isn't it?
Well,
wind deflector type thing.
I've got to admit, I only fitted that about 2 months ago. I got them from the German, and they came through. I'd been looking for some, so they were there.
That's great. Well, thanks for the quick
You're
guide
more than welcome.
to your wonderful Citroen CX. What a wild car that is. And to think what we were making here back then, it was sort of a,
I mean, I like the Rover SD1, which was sort of concurrent with it,
but they
wasn't
were
it?
pretty rudimentary under the skin,
Well,
though, weren't
yes, yeah, a bit of a dinosaur compared to something like
Well, even
that.
compared to the P6 that was before, isn't it? I mean, the P6 was quite an advanced thing, but I'm not sure about this. Well, that's been great to have a quick look at this fantastic Citroen CX. Well, let's have a closer look at this console then. Oh, that's a beauty, that. I haven't seen this one before. Proper number plates on it, proper registration. Glistening chrome, a lovely shade of blue as well. This is fantastic. The Mk1 Owners Club. 1956 disc. That's great. What a bonny car that is. Early 1950s Mk1 Ford Consul. 4-cylinder engine, about 17. Now, testing my memory here, is it about 1703 cc? Probably well out on that one, but in that sort of vicinity. Let's have a quick look. The windows are closed, but we can still see inside. Column gear change. Very stylish speedometer as well on top of the steering column there, and that big cowling, big metal cowling. Looks like the original seat material. Yep, all the original seats and door trims. This is a really nicely preserved car. I love that. What a great looking car that is. There's a Daimler 15 Coupe, mid-1930s. I think they're straight 6 engine, pre-selected gearbox. Lovely, lovely cars. So swish being the 2-door coupe. Occasionally you see them, but it's usually the 4-door saloons, the regular saloons. But that coupe, if it's not the only one, there can only be a couple of those around there. Rover 75s are now appearing in greater numbers at many of the classic car events we go to, whether it's the original Rover 75s or the MG badge versions, but yeah, they've definitely got a bit of a following now. XM603 looking fantastic in the Cheshire sun here. What an incredible aircraft that is. It's the only Vulcan in the world that's finished in the original anti-flash white. All the V-bombers in the early 1960s were finished in that colour scheme. But that just looks sensational, especially when the sun comes out. It's good to see there's nothing worse than an immaculate engine bay and a modern battery with modern stickers on it. So that's yeah, ticking the box for that one. Next to this cracking little 2CV is this DB5. Now I did notice an information board in the window, so let's have a quick look at that. Owned for 54 years, first registered December 64, 6-cylinder double overhead cam engine, triple SUs, 5-speed manual, bought December 1969. What a stunning car that is. I can see the owner at the back there, so I'll have a quick word with him, I think. What a beautiful interior that is. It's just like an aircraft, isn't it? So original. The seats. Motorola radio with the speaker in the centre there. Yeah, there's the gentleman over here that owns this magnificent car.
Camsing, that's the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
This example is in a beautiful maroon red colour. Now the gentleman here, you've owned this 54 years.
Yes.
And you say you repainted this yourself?
I painted it myself, yeah. Wow. A bare metal repaint.
Yeah. And you bought this at the end of the 1960s?
1969.
So you bought it in 1969. And you say you ran it as your daily for a few years?
For 4 years.
Yeah. And then
I stored it for 25 years.
Right. So you, what car was it you started running as your daily?
I started using XJ6s.
Right.
Because I was in the motor trade.
Yeah.
So I was buying and selling.
Right.
Different cars. So
Yeah.
just used.
And then you sort of put this one to one side.
Until I retired.
Right. And then did it take a lot of rebuilding and recommissioning to?
Yeah, I went right through it with the brakes. More or less. New front springs, brake pipes, all the ball joints, oil seals.
Right. So what's it like to drive then? Is it?
If you compare it with a modern car, it's not nice.
What's it like compared to an E-Type? Because you said you'd been around.
I've not driven an E-Type for 40 odd years.
Because that's the car that they often compare these to, isn't it? You know, people say, do you buy an E-Type or do you buy one of these?
Well,
you know.
I bought my first E-Type. I bought a 62 flat floor E-Type coupe. In 1964. It was 2 years old.
Right.
Yeah. They were £2,100 new.
Yeah.
I give £1,050 for it, which was half price.
Wow.
Yeah.
The brilliant car.
And I kept it for many, many years. It's probably the worst car I've ever had.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? What, reliability? Or?
No, not reliability. You couldn't stop the rainwater coming in.
Really?
And they still leak now, to this day.
Do they?
You know, you wet the floors. The water used to run in through the doors, wet the door linings.
Yeah.
There was no brakes because they had Dunlop brakes, not servo assisted.
They were on discs by then, weren't they?
They
were on
had discs all
weren't
round,
they? Yeah,
but not servo assisted.
yeah. Right,
They
right.
had what they call a servo pedal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so the brakes were hopeless on it. The headlights, you couldn't use it at night. You couldn't drive it at night because the headlights were useless. The seats were so uncomfortable, little thin seats,
Yeah.
and a flat floor. So if you were more than size 7 shoes, your toes used to catch.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. So they had the flat floor and the external bonnet locks on the early ones.
It wasn't an external bonnet lock,
Right,
but it was
right.
flat floor.
Still flat floors. Right. Right.
Which are worth a fortune today, the flat floor ones.
Yeah. And then they dropped the floor just to make them a bit more usable. Was that it? Right. It's great, isn't it? Yeah. So we see this at many sort of shows like Capesthorne Hall and Goresworth Hall, all these places.
It won Car of the Show. It's won Car of the Show at Tatton twice.
Is it?
Yeah. The last time was, I think, 3 years ago. The time before that was 3 years before that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's beautiful though, isn't it? And it's great that it's just out and about. It's not stashed away, or it's not been bought just to make money, just to make money on it. It's been bought because you wanted it back in the day when it was a sort of a car that was just a few years old, nice. But it wasn't like a collector car then so much, was it, as now,
Well, it was one up from an E-Type, wasn't it?
Yeah. But no, it's phenomenal, that is. It's wonderful. Well, thanks so much for telling us a little bit about your fantastic Aston. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the interior in it. It just looks so original. All the proper leather seats and the carpets, and that's what makes it. If someone had gone through it all and replaced everything, you'd just lose so much, I think. But that's just sensational car. I love that. These old cars must keep you young. The owner of that is 91. The gentleman with the Rover was 90. DB5's owner is 91. That's incredible. What a lovely little 2CV. I like the overriders. We've got a trio of Cruise finest here. The mighty Rolls Royces. Got a Shadow one in the middle here, complete with Everflex roof. What's this model? Not quite sure. Is that the Seraph? Certainly very handsome motor cars. Right, let's go and have a look under the bonnet of this Ford F100 pickup. What's that Boss 351 mighty V8 engine lurking under there?
I think this is an auto version as well.
Is it? Oh, right.
So many of these trucks have got autos.
Oops, got some music, we'll have to avoid that, otherwise we will get banned on YouTube. Keep talking over it, yes. There's that lovely estate car version of the P6. We were chatting to the gentleman that owned that only a few minutes ago. And over here we've got the Cheshire Classic Car Club stand from GB Roadster. This one's on road style wheels on an R plate, so that would have been a rubber bumper car originally, but it's been converted, ride height lowered a little bit to match the earlier cars and looks so much better for it, I think. We've got an SLK Mercedes, a big Tripe saloon. See this one quite regularly at many of the events we go to. Always good to see these out and about. Very comfortable car. Mk1 Capri, a 1600 GT, complete with black bonnet, and a Spitfire 4 Mark II. This takes me back to driving and fixing early Spitfires in the late 1980s and early 1990s. This one's on an E-plate, so that's 1967, early 67. It's beautiful to see such an original looking car. It's not on wire wheels, it hasn't got fake Mini-Lite wheels on it. It's just got the proper tin wheels, and that is fantastic. My late uncle, he used to have one just like this. His was a 65, I think. It was also green. And yeah, so that will have the 1147cc engine based on that. The Herald, basically the same engine, albeit with twin carburetors. Yeah, that's a very sharp looking car. You can see a little bit of the negative camber at the back end there. These cars were a bit prone to being tail happy in extremis. If you were going quickly around the sharp corner, you back off in the middle of the corner, you could quite end up facing the wrong way very, very quickly indeed. They did have a bit of a tendency to spin. Same with the Triumph Heralds, because there's not much weight on that back end there, and the rear independent rear suspension was fairly rudimentary, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, a lot of fun, these little cars. I did enjoy owning my Mark IIIs a great deal. So a quick look at the information in the window. 29,000 documented miles, all original panels, and no welding. What an incredible car that is. Lovely Britax seat belts, we approve of those. Mark III Spitfires had a wooden centre dash panel, that was the only real difference. These cars had the black vinyl cover, the Mark Is and the Mark IIs. Yeah, Britax, aren't they? That's a super sharp car. I can't believe the condition of that. Just look how straight that is down the side. That's a lovely, lovely Spitfire. I always like these early Spitfires with the small backlights. The only downside is when you're walking around them in the garage, it's quite easy to walk into those and knock them off. But they just look so much nicer, I think, than the later cars. But any Spitfire's good fun, and they're still relatively affordable within reason. But this is super clean, super sharp. And the fact that all the panels are original, it hasn't been welded, must be almost unique in Spitfire world. Now my youthful assistant stroke car spotter has informed me that over here we have a Renault 4CV. Let's go and have a look. And this Citroen BX is a new arrival as well, but look at this. A 4CV, wow.
That's great, isn't it?
Wow, that's an early one with all those grills on, all those slats on the front. That's quite early. And the spare wheel's different position. Mine sort of goes in, slopes in like that. Look at that. I'm just having a quick look under your boot lid, sir. Oh, I like that.
Oh yeah, we're just talking about it. A guy from France found out I had it and he sent it me.
Wow. Because I've got one of these, but the wheel sort of sits down slopey down and goes right into the bottom.
Oh, this appears to be where it goes.
Yeah. So that's a little fuel can, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's factory for the Renault.
Yeah, factory 4CV fuel can. I'm deeply envious of that.
Well, I bet it's the only one in the world.
Yeah, I bet it is, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's quite an early 4CV, isn't it, with all these slats? Because there are fewer slats on the later ones.
I know,
I don't know.
Well, because I've got a UK built one from
Right,
50, it's a 54. Mine is.
I think this is a.
This is earlier than that.
Yeah, I think this might be a 51.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just like yours.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. So 51.
It was rallied in the Amelia. This.
Was it?
It's on there. What it was.
I love the paint on it as well. It's just dead right. It's lovely.
Have a look underneath that car. Just bend your knees and have a look.
Yeah. Well,
It's unbelievable.
wow.
It's like new.
It is clean, isn't it? So these are like the retrospective sort of mini Amelias, aren't
those made.
they? Yeah.
Well, it's not retrospective because it was in it. Those are original.
But was this on the Mille Miglia in the 50s?
No, it was in 1989.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, look at
The
that.
book. I've got a book on it.
A little Vespa just putted in. That's great, that. So you.
Fabulous.
Wow, that's great. That.
Just bought a Heinkel.
Have you? Oh, wow. This is great. I like this. So did you buy it at the revival then?
Yeah.
In that sale? Is that the sale you bought it at, was it? Wow.
Yeah, I did a copy of the sheet that was on the screen.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let's have a quick look inside, because
It's very rough inside.
mine's a UK assemble car. It's right-hand drive and it has wind-up windows, which most French ones don't have opening windows, do they? They have big quarter lights that open.
Yeah.
They have quite deep quarter lights like this.
Do you know how to put the hubcaps on?
The what? Sorry?
Do you know how to put the hubcaps on?
I've never had the hubcaps off mine. No.
Well, I don't know. I took one off because I've got some spares. I don't know.
Oh right.
Tailgate plastic, I think.
So that window is fixed. So that's a fixed window and quite big quarter lights that open. Mine have much smaller quarter lights that still open, but the windows go up and down. But yeah, what a treat! What a treat! Let's have a look round the back of this one. I really wasn't expecting to see this here. It's really neat, isn't it?
That little Vespa's beautifully original, look at it.
Oh, yes, yeah, I must have gone and have a look at that after. Slightly different dash compared to ours as well. What a treat. I've never expected to see another one of these anytime soon. And of course, parked next to the little 2CV. So a quick peek under here. Oh, you've not got a heater? No. No, right. You see, this is what I've been looking at on mine. The coil on mine is mounted on there on the timing cover, and I think it's getting too hot and being shook around. So I've actually relocated. My battery's over here. The battery box on mine is here. So I've relocated my.
12 volt.
No, it's still on 6. So I've relocated my coil over to the side of the battery tray here, whereas I think it's a lot cooler than being sat on here.
Should be there.
Right, or maybe I haven't got a heater. No, maybe I haven't got a heater actually. I mean, it's got sort of ducts that sort of duct the air in.
Well, that's where the heater should be.
Right.
If
I mean, they did change them a lot. They did change them a lot over the years.
Did you put petrol in yours there?
Yes, yeah. That's a petrol filler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is always interesting because it's right above the battery on mine. Which is an interesting choice.
Well, there's no rot in this.
No, it's great, isn't it? I love the little sticker on the air box still as well.
But that
and this has got the correct carb because I've got someone's put a Weber on mine, and they messed up all the linkage. So I've had to remake the linkage to work because on mine, this connection is over here and it sort of pushes like that. And they'd sort of jury rigged up a connection from here to here, and I was getting like 20% throttle action on it. It was nothing. It just won't pull the skin off a rice pudding at all.
this goes quite quick.
Well, I've redone mine, so I'm getting about 80-85%, I think, and it actually bombs along quite nicely now.
Does.
Yeah, no,
I'm not sure about the stopping of it.
no, but you worry about that when you need to, don't you? But yeah, that's great to see another one. I saw this Stingray driving in before, 65 Corvette Stingray on a B reg, left-hand drive MGTD. We saw this one at the Avro Heritage Museum meeting a couple of months ago, whenever it was. There's this bonny little A30 we saw before, the Formosa, and this beautiful Austin-Healey 100M. I do like these early Austin-Healey, the 100s, and the early Healey 3000s without the wind-up windows, because when they have the wind-up windows, I'm pretty sure this door line is a lot straighter along there, and it looks a lot less curvy. But the way the door line sort of curves around, and that trim goes around the back of the cab and then over the top of the dash, I just think it's a really lovely shape. That's why I like the earlier cars, even if they're not quite as practical. That's a stunning little car, that is. Look at the angle of the gear lever as well. How mad is that?
The dashes are lovely.
Real classy thing, isn't it? Of course, this was a collaboration between Donald Healey and Austin's. Look at this, we just got a glimpse of this one coming before, a Vespa 400. Now we've seen a pale blue one of these at Capesthorne Hall and somewhere else, but this is a beautifully original white example. Very similar vein to the Renault 4CV that we've just been looking at, although the 4CV feels decidedly large compared to this fantastic little Piaggio's, that little Vespa. Lucas lamps on the front, super original little car this one. Proper survivor car. If we were in America at a concours meeting, this would be in the survivor class.
I don't know.
Like the 4CV rear engine as well. Wow, love that. Twin coils.
But this one's, I would say, 99% original.
So yeah, that's an English number.
Yes, yeah. It's me and my wife painted those.
Everything's super lightweight on these little cars, from the tiny door handles to the minimalist seating and the very minimalist rear seat. Well, let's go and see what else we've got here today. We've got a Lancia Delta HF Integrale, lovely bright red car there. Let's have a look at the back of the roof. For some reason these always rust, or bad ones rust on the top of the roof at the back there. This one seems to be good in that regard. A bonny little Mini Clubman.
Does it have to be on some
Jaguar.
You know,
And that wonderful old Rover P6 Astora estate car. 3.5 litres of V8 woofliness, allied to an automatic gearbox on this particular car. What a great car. It was lovely to chat to the owner of it before. And isn't this beautiful? This is just the sort of thing we saw at Gaydon the other weekend for the classic and vintage commercial vehicle show. Beautiful Morris Commercial. The Morris Commercial Club were there. And there were some fantastic vehicles on their stand, and this would have fitted right in. Beautiful Morris Commercial badge. Morris Commercial Cars Limited, Birmingham, England.
You've got to have a look at this measure.
I will do in a minute, yeah. This is just fantastic. I love the body on this particular Morris. Look at the step, the original step. This right-hand drive as well, of course, being Morris built. Got a few bikes here as well, including, what's that, 1970s Yamaha. Yeah, that's just a beauty, that is, I love that. Next to the Vitesse we have an immaculate Morris Minor 1000 Traveller. Not sure if we've seen this one here before, but yeah, that's a cracker, that is, isn't it? And we've got the window open, so we have to have a look in. Super duper clean in there. Surely everyone owned a Morris Minor at one point in their lives, or ridden in one, or had a neighbour or a relative that's had a Morris Minor. And here, super shiny MG midget, a round wheel arch midget, and lo, what do we see there? An old classic car sticker, direct from the merch store that was launched just a few weeks ago. Oh, that's fantastic, that's great to see that. And not only the OCC sticker, car traction as well, my lad's channel, Harley's channel. That's great, that's fantastic, really appreciate that. It's always good to see the name out and about there and these stickers. Yeah, I think I saw the owner a moment ago. Yeah, filling up the screen nicely with stickers. But yeah, that's the spirit. If you want one of those, check out the Old Classic Car merchandise store. If you can't find a link to it, go to the Old Classic Car website and there's a link to the merch on there. Yeah, that's really great. I really appreciate that. That's great to see that. Ooh, what's that? That's a W126 Mercedes of the 1980s. So that's the 126 S-Class. Very swish car. Dad used to have a 500 SEL, a long wheelbase 5 litre V8 example of one of those. Didn't really do corners very well, but it was great in a straight line. That's the 560 SEL, top of the tree for the 126 series cars. Here we've got a 2-door Escort here, Mark II Ford Escort, with dealer supplier sticker in the back window, which we approve. An immaculate Porsche alongside that. Here's the TD that we saw at the last meeting here at Avro Heritage, which is a museum celebrating the history of the Avro aircraft companies going back a long time. Yeah, this is an American import. It spent most of its life somewhere in America before being brought back here. You can see the sun has had a bit of a go at the steering wheel rim on this very original car. The S-Class is just parking up. Just going to have another quick look at this 4CV because it's so infrequent that you ever see these things, because over the years they did change in details. Like I say, the later cars had fewer grille slats, if you like, on the front. If you compare this car to mine, you'll see what I'm on about. Yeah, that's a really nice little car, that is. It's good to know I'm not alone in the liking for these oddball little French cars.
Turn off or whatever. Every time.
This is based on Suzuki mechanicals, this very intriguing little Mini. And here's that Daimler 15 Coupe. I'm reliably informed that despite appearances, it's actually had many modifications, but they've all been kept and done in such a way not to spoil the look of this fantastic car. Apparently it's got MGB axles and so on. But yeah,
automatic gearbox,
yeah,
new engine swap.
Yeah, many modifications, but to look at, you really wouldn't be any the wiser. Yeah, it's a beautiful coupe.
Only 2 pedals.
Yeah. Another later MX5 on the end of the row here, also glistening in white. Is this 64 Ford Consul Corsair automatic? That must be quite a rarity. Column shift auto, is it? Very lovely interior in that. I'm not sure if we can see through the window very well. Column shift, yeah, with this selector on top of the steering column, just like American cars, very similar. But that interior is just incredible. Hopefully the camera's picking this up. But yeah, amazing trim. And so difficult to replicate. If you were restoring a ropey one of these now, I bet you'd really struggle to get all the trim pieces that are unique to these Ford Corsairs of the 1960s. This is a super sharp example. Cortinas you see fairly often at these events, but Corsairs, not quite so much now. So let's have a good look at this one while we get the chance. Very rakish. That front end, that pointy front, reminds me very much of the sort of Thunderbird. Yeah, the Ford Thunderbird.
I think it's a really nice looking car.
Yeah, it's a good looking old thing, isn't it? Many of these had the V4 engine in them.
I'm not a fan of the Crayford.
No, the convertible. Yeah, the convertible ones.
It's underwheeled somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how making it a convertible.
Yeah, the convertibles can look a bit odd, some of the conversions, but that's really nice, though, isn't it? Super clean car. Two Rover P4s here. Slightly later car, slightly earlier car. These have the very curvy front end. It's actually an interesting comparison. Before now I've mentioned about how these are slightly more square with the lamps at the top of the wing there. Slightly different to these cars, still Rover P4s, a slightly different age. This is the model after the Cyclops car, which had the central lamp in the middle between the grills on the front. Yeah, really handsome cars. Rear hinge back doors, as you can see there. That pair of Rovers look really good together today. We've got a bit of classic camping seating with us today in a matching pair of these lovely old chairs, which we've used a few times for the Goodwood revival, but they're just so cool because they fold up somehow. Can you demonstrate, please, young man? That's it, there you go. So you can use them as a walking stick while you're walking around. And then you can ping them open, as my youthful assistant will demonstrate, and there you go. Lovely lightweight seat. Yeah, great for sitting.
Well, this is what Julie was saying.
There's one like that with the painted wedge. And this one with
the engines on display in both Rover P4s. This one has a bit of a gap between the manifold and the exhaust, so it's probably a little bit chuffy today, but it won't take much to rectify that. And over here, another one. Look at that fantastic oil filter.
No.
That's fantastic.
That's also got a little gap. Just in
Yeah.
We'll peek inside this magnificent Rover. Oh, heavens, is this yours, sir? Is this one yours?
I'm unusual, yes, because I've been running these on and off since 1960. And when
1960?
Well, I qualified in 1960,
Right.
21. And I was still running. I had two Austin 7s. One I'd made into a special and raced at Oulton Park with the club.
Did you? The 750, what, 750
yes,
Motor Club?
750 Motor Club. I've still got my badge, but it's not on the front of this car. Anyway, I'd found a very original 33 saloon, and that became the thing for going into Manchester to college and later university. So I rang the saloon. I was running the saloon when I got my first real job, and I had to take the boss out, and he didn't drive. He was 60 with white hair, all frightened of him, of course, and I was a young district inspector. So his secretary said one day, I was the last one in the office, could I take Mr. Starkey to Weast to meet Alderman so-and-so? And I said yes. And he had praised my car when he got into it. Oh, very nice, Mr. Webb. But on the way back, he suddenly said, have you ever thought of buying a more modern car, Mr. Webb? And I said, oh no, Mr. Starkey, because this will last the rest of my life, and so on. So he just went harump, and that was that. Well, I was still living at home then, and I retailed those words over to him. My dad's knife and fork went down with a crash, and he said, you silly idiot, I thought you were intelligent. I said, I beg your pardon? He says, it's a polite way of saying you need a more modern car for your job. Oh, well, I knew the thing had come one day. So next day I was in Nuns for Ford in Broughton, the main agents there, looking for a Ford Prefect, which I like, the 100E Ford Prefect, still do something entertaining. Yes. 500, they got one on the turntable, twiddling around in a hideous lime green colour. But young salesman came out as I surveyed it, saw the plastic seats, and I said, how much extra? $5.25, new this was.
Was it?
Yeah, price on the windscreen. How much extra for leather seats and a sunroof? And this young salesman said, leather seats, £75 extra, but there's a year's delivery, you have to order them. And what do you want a sunroof for? I said, pardon? He says, because they all leak and jam. Oh, I said, see that 33 Austin 7 on your forecourt? The sunroof is slightly open. I use it every day unless it's raining. Thank you very much. And I went out with a big swing of the bum. Looked at a couple of Wolseley's, a couple of MG magnets, Triumph Renown Razor Edge.
Oh yeah. Handsome machine.
Yes, except it always needed a 6-cylinder engine, and they never put one in. So, a bit like Volvo's really, never made an engine that gave me any interest.
No.
So, well, what happened was, I'd liked Rovers since I was in my pram during the war, when there weren't many cars on the road, and my dad had explained when I was very small why Mr. Holland's Rover sounded different to the Colonel's, which was a bigger one, and he explained about 6 cylinders. So a friend, when boss had said I needed a more modern car, my dad did, I'd been looking and looked at the Ford Prefect. A friend asked me to give him a lift down Princess Parkway into Brooklands because his car was in the garage for service, his Morris. And coming down, we passed Henley's showroom with an echelon of Triumphs, Rovers and Jaguars, and right on the end was this dark green Rover like this with chrome rim embellishers.
Oh yes.
And I could see the badge on the bonnet that said Rover 90 over my shoulder. So I dropped Jack off in Brooklands, tore back to the garage, but they just bloody closed, hadn't they? so I went back next morning and did the deal virtually on the spot. It was 5 years old, 70,000 miles, 69,000 miles. Kept it 8 years. My dad went mad. He said, a Rover, don't be ridiculous when I told you. This is a rich man's car, you can't afford that. I said, you're not going to cancel it, I've done the deal, I'm over 21, you can't cancel my deal like you did with my motorbike when I was 16, so I'm having it whether you like it or not. I'm not married, I haven't even got a girlfriend at the front, and there are no secret kids, so you know what you can do. I thought he was going to hit me, but my mother said, lay off Billy, he's old enough. But it did worry me even more what it might cost to run. It turned out to be absolutely marvellous. The Rover Company's spare parts thing was their service was second to none because it was astonishingly reasonably priced.
Really?
Yeah. A complete new engine from the factory for 95 quid if you needed one, ordered from Rosenfields, and when the replacement engine comes, they've done it at the factory and they put your engine number on it.
Did they?
Yeah, that was what they did then. And it came complete with clutch, starter, dynamo, all the ancillaries, manifolds, 95 quid in a crate.
Can't be bad.
Oh, got a Jaguar engine in there. Which one is it? Oh, it's a 3.4 or 3.8. I said, oh, and how much did they charge for that? Ah, Mr. Webb, it's 225, but all you get is the block and the crankcase.
That's a bit different, isn't it?
So it just shows you what Jaguars were like and still are.
Yes, this is lovely inside. So when did you buy this one then?
This one turned up in the Rover Club only 5 years ago.
Oh, through the club, right.
2017. And its story is one family owned from new, only 50,000 miles.
So one family before you then?
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, until my son bought it.
Right.
And I went halves with him and subsequently bought him out.
Yeah.
1954.
Beauty, isn't
so
it?
It's 69 years old.
Can I open the door and have a quick look inside? Just have a quick peek inside. There we go.
Yeah.
So have a look at a proper car interior. There we go.
The leather is original.
Yeah.
Dirty when we got it. I did it with the leather kit.
Yeah.
The driver's seat cushion had a couple of holes, and Nick lives in Dudley, where these car shows like the Cars of Star and Car SOS and so on, there is an upholstery firm there, and Nick took the seat cushion when I said these holes, I think I can mend them, but it'd be better if it was professionally done.
Right.
We sent the seat cushion to the upholsterers and they put a new interior in it, new horsehair.
Right, so they put the support back into it.
Yes, and done it. They are extremely comfortable. Just shift me picnic bag.
Let's whiz this into the back. Pop that there.
Yeah, have a sit in.
Let's have a sit in. I've never sat in a Rover before, P4. Wow.
You also want the armrest, which
of course, yes.
Has, but has driven it here.
We've got an armrest as well. Proper comfortable. A very long gear lever as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a.
You've also got an elbow rest the other side.
It's adjustable, like the
either up or down.
Yeah, the Lanchesters were like that.
Yes.
I had and a Daimler. I remember having. I remember having adjustable armrests.
But
wow, that's lovely, isn't it?
Because they're nearly all bucket seats these days. I'd like you to have a sit in it to see what they used to be like with a proper quality British car.
Yeah, they did make them properly in those days, didn't they?
Can we unlock that door?
Which way do we go? Backwards, that way? There we go.
Push it.
There we go.
That's it.
Trying to think if we've got any bench seats.
We haven't got anything with a bench seat, no, we haven't.
Wow, it's nice.
Very comfortable, isn't it? So what sort?
Fit a third person in the middle. When the owner of the white car, my eldest son, when he was very small, he used to sit on while he's almost in the middle.
So what speed will this happily roll along at then?
Since we changed the back axle ratio to raise it, because remember in the 1954, 50s, no motorways.
No motorways, no.
And if you were doing 60 mile an hour on a bypass, you were really going some. And so they were geared for slower roads. And what happened with this is when we got it 5 years ago, and I drove it first time, and I went on a motorway to Accrington on the M60, whatever it is, I told my sons, I said, I can't do with this Rover. I said, I know we've changed we've got winkers on it now to suit me, because I said I'm not driving these days with the original semaphores, because the people won't know what they are.
No, there
it
is
turns
that.
out my grandkids all know what they are, but I didn't know that at the time.
They've obviously been brought up properly though.
Anyway, I said it's revving its knackers off at 60 miles an hour. There's something not right. It turned out to be back axle ratio, and the experts said what you need to do is change it for a Rover 95.
Oh right,
It's higher ratio. I said, good God. Well, as a matter of fact, we've still got in the family the 95 I bought in the 60s. On the side of it.
Oh right.
I said, but I'm not taking its crown, wheel and pinion away. He said, well, you don't need to, because I've got 6.
It's got the free wheel on it as well.
Yes, it's got the free wheel.
Yeah.
I don't use that nowadays.
No.
I did when I was young.
Well, no, it's a lovely, lovely car. Well, it's been a real treat to have a look inside it and just see what it's like. Proper 1950s British car, isn't it?
It runs beautifully. Oh, there's something. Often with old cars, the clock's stopped. Now, I can't stand stop clocks. If I can't get it going again, I'll get somebody to repair it. I'll change it for something else. That's the original clock. It cost me 150 quid to have modern works put in it. And it keeps good time.
Brilliant. Oh,
it's been like that for the last 5 years.
That's phenomenal. That.
Changed it for the hour.
That's fantastic. CX is leaving now. What a great car that is. Thanks to the owner for that one, of having a good chat about his car before. Well, cars are starting to disappear now here at the Avro Heritage Museum. There's the Morris Minor leaving now. What a beautiful car that is too. We've had a great day. There's been some really interesting cars here, including this gorgeous Healey 100M and that Vespa 400 over there, which is just a little cracker. And it was wonderful to see that 4CV, which is parked over the back there. There's a gentleman leaving in his Sprigget, complete with OCC stickers. Thank you very much. It's been a really, really interesting day, so I think we will start packing up slowly but surely, head back home and have a Father's Day lunch. So thanks very much for watching. Please check out the rest of the channel before you disappear entirely, and there'll be many, many more videos along before too long. So bye for now.